Welcome to the Zashin Zone, where I talk and hopefully you enjoy the show. Let's begin. Congratulations, Carly Fiorina. You've gotten nominated as the Vice President. Hopefully you have a great career after this, but you made a mistake. You tied yourself to lying dead. Got 8 reasons, or 8 points that Ted lied on when he's wasted 40 minutes of everybody's time before he could even let you have the stage. Can't stop talking. Alright. There's 8 points that'll be made here.
A meaningful distinction if we come to November and the American people are given a choice between 2 big government liberals, 2 Washington insiders enmeshed in the corruption of Washington.
Alright, you just saw that clip. Ain't no way you can compare Donald Trump to the left-leaning socialist Democrats that Bernie and Hillary have become. Now, Hillary may not go as far socialist as Bernie does, but do you really want Obama for 4 more years? Or 8 more years? You want nobody trying to slow down the spending?
First of all, knowledge. Do they know enough to do the job? Do they know where jobs come from? Do they understand why jobs are leaving America? Do they understand why manufacturing jobs are being driven overseas? Do they understand why Carrier has left Indiana and gone to Mexico? Do they understand what is happening in the economy? And government. Do they understand the Constitution and Bill of Rights? Are these words on a paper, or are these promises that protect our fundamental liberty? And security, do they understand the threats facing us in the world, the threats that potentially endanger your children and mine?
Jobs. Trump's created jobs and took advantage of outsourcing jobs internationally. You know, people bitch about his shirts being made in Mexico. It's part of the system right now. He's used the H-1B to hire cheap professionals. Why not? H-1B is a system there to be used and abused by anybody who can figure out how to do it. He's watched the flood of money into tax havens out of our country. He wants to get that money back in our country and working for us. Now, he wants to use all the things he's seen and try to reform it so it works for the American citizenry.
Secondly, you look to judgment. Do they have the judgment and wisdom to bear the mantle of a job whose responsibilities have grayed the hair of every person ever to hold that office? Do they think through decisions in a rash and impulsive way? Do they pop off the handle at whatever strikes them at any given moment? Or do they think through careful, measured? Do they assemble a team around them who are smarter than they are? You know, there's an old adage in management that A's hire A's and B's hire C's. If you see a leader who deliberately surrounds himself with people who are not capable, who are not informed, who are not skilled, and who would never, ever, ever stand up to that leader, it tells you that leader is not a leader, but rather someone not at all secure in who they are.
But Trump has never said that he had all the answers, but repeatedly that he would bring the best minds in people to problems that confront him. From day one, he said he was going to bring the best he could find to work on the problem he wanted fixed. Then you talked about people who hire A's and B's and all this stuff. Well, guess what? Trump hires A's. And they're not scared to tell him no. And he's not scared to listen to them. Sometimes he thinks they're wrong, though. And when he thinks they're wrong, he calls them on it. And they have to either prove him wrong or he doesn't take their advice. That is a leader. That is somebody who makes the hard choices. That is what we want. We want a leader. We don't want somebody who's going to get together a bureaucratic nightmare again. The nightmares are what's killing us.
And the third thing you look to is character. Are they honest? Do they have core principles that come from their gut? Are not a momentary dalliance, announced today to be abandoned tomorrow? But do they know who they are when they look in the mirror? Is it based on whatever the media tells them that given day, whatever the fad is that given moment, whatever is trending on Twitter? Or do they have a foundation?
Trump has never faltered on his foundation issues. His issues on his foundation issues, you can go to his webpage and they are the same now as they were then. The problem is when people try doing things to trick him up and get comments out of him that he doesn't have an opportunity to think all the way through first. And when he realizes they're wrong, he doesn't double down on things he's wrong about. He steps back and says, let's look at it a little deeper. But then people want to pick on him for holding to supporting his people, when guess what? He knows when to double down and say, no, this is what's right, and hold to it.
Like Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, looks to government as the answer to every problem.
Second time he had to go there. Don't worry. We love him. Ted will lie and keep us in business. People will be talking about Ted years to come because lying Ted helped Trump win. It's the second time he has compared Trump to Hillary and Bernie. We know Trump is no Hillary or Bernie. I cannot fathom where Ted thinks Trump is going to be a socialist. He wants to get the government out of healthcare. He wants to get the government out of education. These are two things that are sucking up money that doesn't need the government looking over it in the method they're doing now, because the method they're doing now is screwing it up. And as for what I would think of Trump, I would think Trump is a moderate Republican. Because, see, when I say moderate Republican, it's because he's attacking the things in the center, where moderate Democrats are scared of the socialists. They're willing to come to center. And the super conservative, hey, they may not like Trump, but guess what? He's talking to the moderates. He's talking to us people that can sit down across the table from a Democrat and actually have a discussion. You can't have a discussion with a socialist, and you can't have a discussion with the far right, super established conservative either, because they are so right, there is no other answer but theirs. Moderates, We want to sit down at the table, we want to get an answer, and we want to move on with life. We want to make life better for everyone. Moderation in politics? Been gone since Reagan.
And she respects the Constitution and Bill of Rights. They are not... You know, if a candidate views the Bill of Rights as an occasional inconvenience, something to be talked about one day and ignored the next, if a candidate views religious liberty as something to be cast aside when it's inconvenient, if a candidate views the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms as merely a suggestion, they don't have the grounding to be president.
Alright, remember I said I'd get back to the Constitution? Here it is. He just said that Trump was against religious freedom and the Second Amendment. Religious freedom, that goes back to when the whole thing came up about monitoring the mosques. Well, guess what? We already monitor some Christian organizations who are extremists. We will monitor any extremist persons inside the United States to protect the United States citizenry as needed. It's what the FBI is there for. They're gonna do it. It's what the police is there. They're gonna do it. Why? It's their job to protect those of us who are not trying to kill each other. That's not religious persecution. That is trying to save lives. Now, we get to Second Amendment. Second Amendment, the only thing Trump has ever said about the Second Amendment is he wants no new laws. None. Zero. Not an excuse, not a reason, not a why. No new laws. There are already enough laws on the books. Some of them need to be took off the books. But he wants no new laws. Except one. You'll like this one. He wants a national concealed firearm permit. That's right. You get issued your firearm permit in Alabama, it's good anywhere in the country. My driver's license is good anywhere in the country. Why can't my gun permit be good anywhere in the country?
We need a president who isn't neutral between Israel and the Palestinians. We need a president who will not keep in place this Iranian nuclear deal, but who will rip it to shreds.
Okay, neutral on Israel and rip up the Iranian deal. Yeah, that sounds really great, but Trump only said he would be neutral on negotiations between Israel and Palestine. He will allow them to decide their negotiations. When it comes specifically to the state of Israel, he has said he will up our support of Israel. He will reverse all the pullback that Obama has done and prove to Israel that we are not going to let any country, any Arab country, stop the existence of Israel. We will support Israel in any way necessary. Rip up the deal with Iran. That sounds great. That sounds like, oh, we're going to just get rid of NAFTA and we're not going to do TPP. You cannot just unilaterally drop yourself out of treaties willy-nilly and keep the international community still willing to work with America. As for the Iranian deal, hold them to it really hard. They'll end up breaking it. They'll up screwing it up. The money's already gone. Obama released the money to them without getting anything. So, at this point, there's not a lot any new president's going to be able to do except try to hold them to it, and then afterwards get out of the deal with the support of all the foreign governments, go back in, get a new deal, get a proper deal that truly stops them from getting nukes. We've already got Pakistan with nukes. Do we really want any more nations with true radicals in their borders to have nukes? Think about it. This is not a world I'd really want to go to.
If we nominate a candidate who is a big government New York liberal, who is a Washington insider, who agrees with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama on issue after issue after issue, and whose lobbyist campaign manager has told us he is only playing a part, this is only a role, he is lying to us.
All right, third time's charm. You know it. Ted Cruz tells you a lie 3 times and it's gotta be true. No. Trump is not a left-leaning socialist Democrat. Don't care how much you say it, Ted. Don't care how much you jump up and down and think it'll fit. It ain't happening. He's running as a Republican. He's running as a moderate Republican, not a super conservative. Why moderate? Because moderate is where the country needs a leader. We need a strong leader that is willing to stand behind our military, stand behind Israel, and stand up for America first. My theory is, at the top of all American politics, there is a group of elite that have managed to take control of the heads of the Republican and Democratic parties. And they've got the Democratic and Republican parties pushed so far to the right and left ideologically that they don't represent the common people anymore. But they keep them like that so that they can sell them on ideas that end up doing nothing in Washington. Just runs around in a big circle, spends a whole lot of money, and reduces the power of America, but keeps them rich. Donald Trump, I do not believe is part of that most elite established group. I believe that takes a lot longer time to get in. I think these are the type of people that have been in power for generations and believe that their power is their right. The United States got rid of a monarchy once before. This is a monarchy made of cash rather than just inborn power. It's time to take our country back. And I do honestly believe Trump will lead us in that route. Y'all have a good day.